country icon Janie Fricke today on the Music Universe podcast.
Oh, Matt, today's guest is very exciting.
Oh, she certainly is. And she's so exciting. Your dogs know what's going on and they're barking in the background.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're tired of the quarantine as well.
Have you been able to walk them? Have you been able to take them far? What's been the deal there?
I walk them as I feel up to it, only because they're large dogs and I've got a tandem leash and it's hard for one person to walk the two of them without being trampled on or pulled. So they're not very well trained.
Get Jessie to hold the other one.
Well, she takes the Pomeranian. I've got 5 dogs, and I walk 3 of them. She takes
5?
Yes. And 3 cats, a guinea pig, because one just passed, and a hamster. So I've got a full house.
You're like a mini Joe Exotic over there.
Not exactly. Yeah, not exactly. But she loves pets. She's wanting a ferret, and I'm like, nope. She's wanting a little pig. I'm like, nope. Maybe turtles, because they're kind of cool. Put them in an aquarium. But I think we got enough. So I do try to walk them, and I would like to do more of that because Lord knows I could use the exercise. But I just haven't made the time, and they just pull me too much sometimes to do it. But I'll get out there.
No, I asked because I saw a meme on Facebook the other day that said it was a dog on top of it. It was a pretty big dog on top of like kitchen cabinets, like literally at the very top, and it said. No, leave me alone. I've been walked by everyone in this freaking family today.
Oh,
stop.
Yeah, just to get out of the house, I get you. No, that's my cats, though. They like to climb up in weird spots, and you're wondering how in the world they got up there, but,
Do you let them outdoors?
Oh, no. I've taken them out right when we first got them, kind of held them just to get them, held them outside just to let them get a taste of it, but they get in the windows and Lord knows whatever else, so they kind of get a little taste of it. But no, I don't let them out. I'm afraid they won't come back.
That's fair. All right, well, our guest today, I love her work. I love her songs. There was and this is what I was trying to get into with her a little bit. She kind of touches on this. There was an era of country music, about 20-30 years of female country music, where the songs were better than some of the stuff the men were writing about.
Right.
You had George Jones writing beer songs. Well, you had Tammy Wynette singing about "Stand by Your Man." I can't sing.
Then divorcing him later.
Yeah. Irony. And just so many. Bobby Gentry doing Billy Joe, "Ode to Billy Joe," which is just could be about anything you want it to be.
Right.
And you have Janie and her slew of hits, 18 number ones, and we talk about a couple of those. And her era also too. Jeannie Seely had some very emotional ballads. The women of the 70s and 80s, that was the women's era in country music, and so
right.
I just love her. And she has a great duet with Mo Bandy that I just love, and it was such a thrill to talk to her.
Yeah, she was a blast. We did touch on a couple of things that, sometimes the information isn't always right there, about being a jingle singer and stuff. So we touch on that, and we didn't talk too much about the quarantine. She kind of didn't seem like she wanted to dwell on that. So we kind of pushed beyond that. But, she's ready to get back out there and get on the road. But she is taking this time and kind of, just taking it in.
Janie Fricke, welcome to the Music Universe podcast. How are you doing in these really unprecedented and unique times?
Well, I imagine it's the same feeling everybody has, a lot of uncertainty and worry, but just constantly trying to find things to avoid those dark questions that are lurking around, and just try to be positive and think of all the good things that we can do and count our blessings.
Absolutely.
Now, you are first of all, you are one of my favorite female country singers all time. I love classic country music. I love that era. And I know you're from Indiana, and I'm just wondering what your influences were growing up.
coming from Middle America musically.
Right. Good old Indiana, right in the heartland of the Midwest. And we loved music when I was growing up. I think we probably listened to and played every type of music there was because my family loved all forms of music. It wasn't just one. And so I was very fortunate in that because it was kind of a bit of a musical family, with Mother being a piano player at church and Dad teaching me how to play a little bit of acoustic guitar. So we had music going a lot. And, of course, a record player that was playing every LP, every record that we could find and buy at the store at the time.
And you've gone on to record 18 #1 hits. You've released 23 albums and 36 singles, multiple gold and platinum albums. What's that feel like to have that kind of success from growing up from Indiana?
You know, I look back at it and sometimes I'm amazed. It's almost like a dream that I didn't even know I had a dream for all of that. It just sort of was by a lot of luck and a lot of blessings that those dreams did come true. And I worked really hard at it, but I never realized what it would gain by all the hard work that I was doing. And my desire to work in all different forms of music. So it was kind of interesting how it just sort of developed over the years. Every time something good happened, like an award, I just felt like it was just a great highlight in my life that I didn't even expect.
Mm-hmm. And you started that journey with, I know, singing backup on a lot of records and backup in live shows. I know I saw an interview where you talked about you were opening for Mickey Gilley, but you performed with him a lot as a backup singer. How did that transition happen for you, going from background singer to out in front opening for these artists and then headlining yourself?
Yeah, and let me correct that. I didn't actually sing backup for Mickey Gilley, but I had a chance to. One of my early shows was in his club called Gilley's, which is a huge club in Pasadena, Texas. But I did do several shows opening for his show. But, yeah, I was a backup singer in the studio, working with all the major producers and working in a really great vocal group. And so we got to sing backup on a lot of records that were big records happening at the time in the early 80s, late 70s. And so that's what kind of formed my business savvy, was to be able to do all the studio work. And at that time, I had no idea I would become a solo artist.
And staying with the backup singing part, you actually sang backup on Elvis's final album, but you did it after he passed away. What was that like? I mean, that had to be tough.
Yeah, actually, we started it while he was still alive. And we went in the studio to add harmony vocals onto his last concert. And so we were in the studio with his producer, Felton Jarvis. And we started the project, and we were singing harmony parts to enhance and make his show sound bigger. Well, then in a couple of weeks, he died, and he was gone. And we had to go back in the studio and finish it. And we were just devastated. We could hardly sing. We were just shocked. And of course, his producer was devastated. And then not long after that, he passed away too. Oh. And I've been trying to find that album, and I cannot find the album anywhere. But I know it's out there because someone came up and told me he had a copy of the album. I was grocery shopping one day, and I got a tap on the shoulder, and some stranger I'd never met said that he saw my name on Elvis's album. And I said, oh my goodness, I've got to get that. Well, I still haven't found it.
Have you heard of the website Discogs?
No.
It's a worldwide marketplace for used and even new music. I'm pretty sure you could find it on there.
Really?
Yeah, it's like the eBay.
Okay, well,
it's like the eBay for music and movies, or music, CDs, records, and all that.
Okay, great. Well, I'll keep trying.
Yeah, definitely.
In all of this fabulous career that you've had, is there one person that you think really believed in you and really helped you and really got you to where you could be the star that you are. We were talking about this with another guest, that it takes one person to give you your yes. And I'm just curious, like I said, about going from backup to headlining, if there was a pinnacle moment or a pinnacle person where you did finally get to come out front and have those 18 number ones.
That's a good question, because I could actually say yes, there were two people. One of them was the producer Billy Sherrill at Columbia Records, and he knew about me being a backup singer. And he was also producing Johnny Duncan at the time, and they let me come in and do a line on Johnny's record called Stranger. So I would say Johnny Duncan was also a person that gave me that start, because then he had me sing on additionally about 4 more songs that he recorded. And the disc jockeys at the time were jumping on that record and that sound, because they didn't know who the girl was. And it was kind of unusual to have just a strange girl singer all of a sudden singing on records that were making number 1 spots. So, yeah, I would say Billy Sherrill, the producer, and Johnny Duncan, the artist.
That is so wonderful. The shows that you've done, is there an experience that stands out for you on the road, in the recording studio? Is there something that you hold dear? Special shows, special recordings, a favorite moment?
After all the years of doing my records and singing harmony, and also doing step out solo lines on other people's records, I think probably Merle Haggard. To be able to work on Merle's records was a definite highlight. And he did a show over here in Fort Worth at Billy Bob's, the big club, and he did his show live. Well, he asked me to come out on stage and sing my line on the song called Looking for a Place to Fall Apart. And so it's on DVD. It was a live DVD that he put out. So I'm really proud and excited that I had a chance to work with him that night, coming out on stage and being spotlighted, because that was a very special highlight. Also, I had chances to open up shows for Merle Haggard and do concerts on the road with him when I had my own band with me. So that's just one incident of many, but that was a very special time.
Yeah, I heard he was such a nice guy, and he's well missed, and actually in Bakersfield, and I know that's where he's from.
Yeah.
Now, you've transitioned to a jingles singer recently, and what are some of the brands? Tell us about that and some of the brands that fans can hear your voice.
Yeah, actually, I started out in the business doing jingles before I did anything else.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, I was a college student, and I was playing my guitar, singing in a little club in Lexington, Kentucky, and some guy in the audience said, "You should be singing jingles in Memphis, Tennessee." And I said, "What?" So I got the information. I got the name of the company. I called them up. I drove down there, and I auditioned for the vocal group and got the job. And I punched a time clock every morning and sang jingles with the vocal group for over a year. And that was our job. Then we punched out at 3:30. We sang thousands of commercials and jingles. And one of the first ones I did that was so exciting went to the moon. It was Apollo 12. Oh. And so we sang Apollo 12 with the weather. And it went up on the space shuttle, and we sang to the astronauts. And so that was their way to advertise for the ad company that I was working for. Yeah. And then later on, I moved to Nashville, and I had a chance to do some major commercials, Red Lobster and Coca-Cola and McDonald's and many others. And that was my main work, was to do jingles when I first moved there and to get studio work. So that all happened before I became a backup singer and a solo artist.
Wow, you're just so eclectic, and that was such a beautiful line you sang for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
Love it. I love it when our guests sing. And, sorry to jump around here, but, one of my favorite songs of yours is It Ain't Easy Being Easy, one of your 18 number ones. we don't get a lot of women singing the kinds of powerful songs that female country singers back in that day sang about. I mean, topics that women addressed in country music in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even the 60s was a little powerful, was so much more powerful, I think, than what's going on today. But to stop editorializing for a moment, how did you come to that song and what led to the decision to record it? I could imagine in the 80s, a song with that title is would have been a little controversial amongst your group.
Yeah, evidently. I don't know. The producer thought that with my vocal style that I could pull it off. And he took me in the music room, and he had actually, we went over to the publishing house, the writer's house, right there on Music Row. And the writer sat there and played it to me on the piano. And I got chill bumps when I listened to it. I said, oh, this is a great song. Well, it had a lot of soul in it. And when I sing, I like to do a soulful licks with my vocal cords. And so it just matched. It just matched the feeling and everything. And the message is, it ain't easy being easy going back to a love that you know you shouldn't be near. So in other words, your willpower gives out, and it's not so easy being strong. That's what the message is. Instead of the term easy, easy.
Yeah.
A lot of people think in one way. One man came up to me after the show and said, well, what does that mean? It ain't easy being easy. And I said, well, if you listen to the lyrics, it means that it's not easy to give in and do what you know, go with someone you know you're not supposed to be with. It's not easy being that easy, but we all give in instead of holding back and using our willpower and saying, no, we know that's not right for us. That relationship isn't right or whatever. So that's what it's supposed to mean.
Yeah, people just take things out of context a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for explaining that. And I wanted to point out that you were actually named the first female vocalist in country music to establish your own unique sense of fashion style.
Oh, yeah, really. I didn't think about it like that, but yes, I had my own style of dressing and my own outfits that I would have created and made for me. And then I used the headbands. I would make my own headbands to match the fringy dresses or whatever that I had made. So yes, I've always loved fabric and design and style.
Yeah. Do you think female country singers, there's this debate now about how much airplay country singers get now versus female country singers get now versus the men. Do you think country singers today have it easier or harder than you had it in the 80s?
And are you talking about gender, women versus men?
Yeah. If it's easier or harder now? Yeah.
I have been asked that question so many times. It's funny you asked me about the gender thing. Is it easier for a man to get a hit record than a woman? Or is it easier for him to do concerts and go on the road than a woman? And I think a man does have a stronger overall lasting strength, because they can go on the road as tough as it is, and they can stand up there and do a long concert and maybe endure it better than a woman, because I think women are a little more fragile. But I think as far as, because I know it's hard for me to work as hard as a guy works, and I've seen a lot of guys do a lot of concerts, and their energy is outstanding. Whereas I think women, in my nature, may not be as strong. Now, some women might be. But as far as selling ticket sales and having luck with radio airplay and all that, I really think it's all demographics. It depends on what the song says. If the song reaches out to both men and women buying the records or listening to it on their computer or whatever, it just depends how the song hits a guy or it hits a woman. Because men have different emotional levels than a woman has. A woman has a completely different emotional level when she hears a song being played, and a guy may not relate to it at all. So, but as far as the fairness for both people working, I think it's stretched out equally as well, that a woman can get a job as well as a man doing a concert. Although I think the ticket buyers and the listeners and the people who want to spend money on all that could be, your demographics, whether the girls want to come out and buy a ticket and go to a concert together, or whether the guys just want to go out and hear a concert. It just, it's just all depends. There's really no magic answer to that.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that a lot of men aren't able to release a complete hits album featuring 41 tracks like you have done. You've got duets with Charlie Rich on there, Johnny Duncan, Merle Haggard, and Larry Gatlin. Tell us a little bit about that album.
That was a complete surprise when the record label notified me that they were putting this project together. I just about flipped. I could not believe that this was happening, because those were all my songs collected in one in one CD, and including the duets. Now, not all the duets are on there, but most of them are. There were a couple of duets that are left off of there that I wish could have been on there, like, for instance, Mo Bandy, It's a Cheating Situation, and Vern Gosdin. Yeah, Vern Gosdin, I'll Go On Till the End was the name of the Vern Gosdin song. So those were not included, but I'm really thankful for all the others. And I'm just thrilled because I can live the rest of my life with that CD, taking it on the road and singing the songs to the audience and selling it after the concert. It's just great.
Tell me a little bit about It's a Cheating Situation. It's one of my favorite songs, favorite country duets of all time, actually. It's just so emotional and so raw, and you feel the connection in the voices. How did that come to you guys? Where did that come from? And how did that recording go? Because the chemistry's there. It's beautiful.
There again, I was on a roll doing duets in the studio with a lot of different singers. It was all happening very quickly, one after another. And it started with the Johnny Duncan thing. And so then I guess it just kind of influenced some of the other producers and artists, like, for instance, Mo Bandy and his producer. And I'm trying to remember where we did it and when we did it. I think it was in like 78 or 79 we did it. And that song was just, once I heard it, I started singing my harmony line in the studio, working on my part of it. And it just came together so perfectly. And we've been playing that ever since. We do shows all the time together. And I come out and sing it in Mo's show, and we do the duet, and the audience loves it. It's just a great song. Whoever wrote it, I don't know who wrote it, but I love that song.
And looking at your tour dates, they're starting. You've got some starting in July. Now, did you have any affected by this quarantine?
Yes, we've had several shows moved, maybe canceled. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to not let it worry my little brain right now. So I'm just pretending that it's all going to work out in the end. But fortunately, in February, I had like 5 concerts, which is more than I've ever done in 1 month. And it was another miracle to be able to work that much. Was just great. So it's okay that I'm off for a while now, and hopefully we can resume. The one in June in Branson, Missouri has already been moved to the fall. And then the one in July up in Indiana, I hope that will stay on. But it is a theater. And, those are all affected. It just goes on too much longer. They'll all be affected and moved or canceled.
Yeah, and it looks like in December you've got a Cowgirl Country Christmas tour. I see a couple dates already. That sounds interesting. What's that going to be like?
Well, right now, as we speak, I'm getting ready to record a new album, which is Christmas music. And I've never done a Christmas album before.
Oh, wow.
So we will have that product ready to go in the fall, and then it'll prepare us for the December concerts. And we thought, well, we'll just call it the Cowgirl Country Christmas. And I'll wear my red cowgirl hat, and I'll sing my Christmas songs, and we'll just all be having a happy Christmas in December.
Oh, I think we're going to need a happy Christmas after all of this, and it's so good to know that you'll be there brightening the season and that you're taking this time off, enjoying it. Janie, thank you so much for spending some time with us today to talk about your career and all of those wonderful milestones and what you're up to now.
Thank you very much, and bless you, and we hope to see you down the road.
I love that interview. I love doing interviews like that because, as you heard, we went back to the beginning. We went way back to the beginning. We jumped around a little bit. A lot of these interviews we'd been doing had been about the isolation and the restricted movement and what artists are doing. This, we talked about the career of a true icon in country music, and I love when we get to do that.
Yeah, and I remember my first time in Branson in '93. I remember seeing her billboard, and I'm like, who is that? You know, I was 9 years old, so I wasn't into the older country like that. And then being able to talk to her all these years later, she was super sweet and just really enjoying life, it sounds like. So that's what it's about, you know.
Absolutely. Well, until next time, I think we're going to go enjoy some life ourselves. I'm Matt.
And I'm Buddy. Thanks for listening to the Music Universe podcast, and be sure to check us out at themusicuniverse.com. Have a good one.